Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to borrow some ideas from math and physics to understand our own minds. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's jump in.
So here's a wild thought for you. What if your mind was a mathematical object? I know, it sounds a bit out there, but stick with me. Thinking this way can actually give us a super powerful handle on that complex, messy thing we call consciousness. We're going to explore two ways to do this, and we'll start with the most straightforward one.
Okay, so level 1, the vector.
The easiest way to picture this, just think of a simple arrow. That's it. A single straight arrow that represents one specific stream of thought. It's a really great place to start, especially when we're talking about focus and, where we're aiming our mental energy.
So what actually defines this mental arrow? Well, any vector, whether it's in physics or in our heads, really just has two key parts. First, you've got its magnitude. Think of that as the raw power, the sheer strength of a thought. And second, you have its direction. Pretty simple, right? It's just, where is all that mental energy pointing?
Let's dig into that a little deeper. So, magnitude isn't just one simple thing. It's actually a combination of two things, the what and the how. The what is the content of your thought, the actual ideas or memories you're juggling. And the how is the process, like how well is your brain actually firing on all cylinders to deal with that stuff. And then there's direction. That's the easy part. That's your why. It's the purpose, the goal that's pulling all that thought forward.
And you know this feeling, right? You can absolutely feel the difference. Think about it. A low magnitude thought. It's kind of fuzzy, it's weak. Like when you first wake up and you're trying to hold on to a dream. But a high magnitude thought, whoa, that is sharp. It's powerful. It's that feeling of intense, locked-in focus when you're deep into solving a puzzle and the rest of the world just disappears. Now here's where it gets really interesting. That direction, it's not always something we're consciously choosing. Not at all. So you might think your vector is aimed squarely at, say, finishing that report for work. That's your conscious goal. But underneath the surface, there could be this other unconscious force, maybe a fear of failure, and it's yanking that vector off course. And what happens? You end up procrastinating, and you're not even sure why.
So the vector model is great. It's clean, it's useful for thinking about focus. But let's be real for a second. Our minds are almost never that simple, are they? I mean, we're constantly juggling thoughts, feelings, what we're hearing, what we're seeing, all at once. So that leads to the big question. Is our mind really just one simple arrow? Or is there something more going on?
And that brings us to level 2, the tensor. This is the upgrade. If the vector was a simple arrow, I want you to think of the tensor as a rich, sprawling, multidimensional map. A map that can actually chart the entire messy, complicated, and, beautiful landscape of your whole inner world.
See, a tensor isn't just about one line of thought. It's this amazing structure that can hold many different dimensions, all at the same time. So imagine this. You're trying to solve a problem, right? But at the exact same moment, you're also feeling a bit anxious about it. And you can hear the traffic outside your window. A tensor is what can represent all of those interacting layers all at once.
So let's put them side by side. The big, crucial difference is complexity. A vector, that's your single linear thought. It's direct, it's clean. But a tensor, wow, that represents a whole network of things interacting with each other. Thoughts, feelings, sensations. It really captures that parallel processing that our brains are doing, constantly.
Okay, so this is where the tensor model really starts to shine. Let's get practical. How can this idea of a mental map help us understand some of the most complex things we do, like, say, being creative or trying to manage our own emotions?
Think about creativity. It's almost never a straight line, right? It's more like a dance between all these different ideas and feelings. In the tensor model, it just captures this perfectly. You could think of brainstorming, what scientists call divergent thinking, as literally stretching out your mental map to find new, faraway connections. And that incredible aha moment, that's synthesis. That's when you're merging different parts of your map together to create something brand new.
And it's the exact same idea for managing our emotions.
An emotion is never just one thing. It's this whole cocktail of physical feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. So when you manage to reframe a really stressful situation, turning it from a scary threat into an exciting challenge, what are you doing? You're basically rotating your mental tensor to focus on a more empowering part of the map. And what about mindfulness? Well, you can think of that as the art of just balancing all the dimensions of your emotional tensor to get to a calm, stable place.
All right, so we've got our simple arrow, the vector, and our complex map, the tensor. So which one is better? Well, that's kind of a trick question. The real answer is you need both. It's all about knowing which tool to pull out of the toolbox for the job at hand. It really just comes down to this. What are you trying to do? If you need to buckle down, set a clear goal, and just crush a single task, think like a vector. Aim that arrow and just go. But when you're trying to navigate something messy, like a complex feeling or a creative block, the tensor model is your best friend. It gives you a much richer, more honest picture of what's going on, even if it feels a little less concrete. And what's so cool about this tensor idea is how flexible it is. The math behind it actually mirrors how our minds work. For example, we can zoom in and focus on one tiny detail of our experience. That's like a math operation called tensor contraction. Or we can zoom out and expand our awareness to see the whole big picture, which is like another operation called outer multiplication. The point is, the model can be as simple or as complex as you need it to be in that moment.
So here's the bottom line. Your mind is an incredibly powerful and dynamic tool. And now you have two different ways to think about it, two different models to help you understand it, and more importantly, to direct it. You've got the focused power of the vector and the rich interconnected map of the tensor. So the only question left is, which model are you going to use to aim your mind?